Welcome to Real Voices of Happy Valley. This is episode 75 and the last one in this current series. We're going to be taking a break for a couple of months, but we will be back. So Viv, what's this one all about?
Well, this one is all about the great Cornholme and Portsmouth get-together, which is happening in September. They did it last year and it was so successful they decided to do it again. And it's lots of the community getting together and doing things.
And having a great time by the sound of it.
Having a great time, yeah. So we're talking to the organisers, which is Rebecca Slaven, who's a volunteer, sort of keep fit type person who works for the community. Emma Carter, who's a community project worker with Active Calderdale, and Jim Haughey, who's the community worker at Vale Baptist Church. They're always on the lookout for more people to join in and volunteers, so there's ways that you can get in touch, which they'll tell us about.
Okay, so let's have a listen.
Hello and welcome to Real Voices of Happy Valley. We're sitting upstairs from the Vale Baptist Chapel in a lovely cosy room, and there's a scaffolding outside, so if you hear any noises, it's people coming to deal with that. And it's a beautiful day. And I'm sitting with Jim, Rebecca, Emma, and of course me and Dave.
Well, Rebecca, do you want to tell us why we're here? Tell us about the event we're discussing.
Of course. So we're talking about the Cornholme and Portsmouth Great Get Together. This is going to be our second event, and it came from an idea that sparked last year, where we were inspired by the Jo Cox Foundation and her message that together we are stronger. And there was a small planning team that were involved in arranging that, and it was a huge success. It really was. I think it was a surprise for everybody to see something happening in the area, and the feedback was so good. People were saying, when are we doing it again?
Fantastic.
And here we are planning the second event.
So tell us, how did it work? What happened?
Yeah, so it's just a one-day community event, so one chance for the community to leave their homes and come and celebrate community together. So we had a variety of activities happening. There was some physical activities like intergenerational sports day, keep fit sessions, Tai Chi sessions. We had some ice cream, of course. The community day wouldn't be anything without ice creams. We had some art sessions that were family friendly. We really thought about just bringing lots of ideas together where people of all different ages and abilities within the community could just come and see each other, celebrate with each other.
What was interesting though is that it started up at Portsmouth, and there was things, you can tell a bit more about that if you want, but we actually had a minibus shuttle, so people could come and go to the different activities. The old library were involved. It was just amazing, really.
Yeah, we decided we wanted to have it at a number of venues across the village, from Portsmouth to down here, which is a good mile, isn't it? If not a little bit further. And we knew that might be a bit hard for some people to walk the whole way. So we and it was quite ambitious.
It was
Thought
very
we'll have
Very
things going on
ambitious.
at 4 different venues, and yeah, it was great. We made it work. The ice cream van, I think, was key. we got it to move, you see. It was great. Yeah. And we managed to do things at a low cost or for free. So we had subsidised food from Bombay Lounge at Liggett, and he came and set up here, and we were able to offer food at a very low cost. The ice creams were low cost and massive.
Yeah, packed lunches. We had
free packed lunches. Face painting, pebble painting, all the activities were free.
So what venues have we got? There's the Vale Church,
Vale Baptist Church,
the old library,
Portsmouth Rec, so the park, which is at the far end of the village, and then Hurst Street Playground, which is just a little playground tucked away in a residential area about halfway along. Yeah, they were the 4, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think although More Fillings wasn't included on the actual day, I think it'd be good to say that Kelly Moore, who runs More Fillings, she played a big part in it all as well. She was very good at involving other people in the area, particularly to raise money and funds and that sort of thing. So
yeah, we had some amazing raffle prizes, didn't we?
Yeah. And in our planning team, we had Caroline Beardsmore, and we had the Lionesses of the Vale, so they played a big part as well in it. We just had a very small planning team, didn't we? But it was really key people from the community.
So where did the idea come from?
So there was some investment from Active Calderdale specifically for Cornholme and Portsmouth. It had been identified as an area that could do with a bit of investment around trying to get people moving more and being more active. And when I started working here, I sort of thought, well, we need to backtrack. We need to first of all start sort of bringing people together. And I met Rebecca very early on. And Natasha, who runs the parent and toddlers group, because she was living here, and the three and Rebecca and Natasha both became active champions, volunteers to sort of support me in what I was trying to do, and just to bounce ideas off each other. And the three of us came up with this. I think various people have mentioned they'd like some kind of community event, because I believe there were things. There have been things previously. It's just been pre-COVID and. And so we kind of bounced a few ideas around, and then we shared it. So I was sort of setting up these kind of active Cornholme and Portsmouth meetings and inviting everybody I could think of to come to them. And we sort of shared it at one of the meetings, and it sort of grew from there, and a few more people said they'd get involved. There was Jim. And it just kind of grew. We planned and delivered it in quite a short space of time, really.
It's amazing.
Yeah. We're all a bit like, how did we manage to do it?
And we were so fortunate to have good weather, because it could have been totally different had the sun not shone.
We decided to do it in September. We thought we'd bypass July and August, which is supposed to be summer because it usually rains, and we'd do it in September when the school was back, and it worked really, really well, didn't it? We did it mid-September.
It's a typical year in this country where you get the 2 or 3 good sort of weather weeks, which we're having now, and then it rains for summer, and then when the kids go back to school, the sun comes out.
So we jumped on that.
Usually the way.
And who else? I just thought we had Ellen, who's the school patrol officer, coming and helping, because one thing that was key was how people actually going to access the places. This is one of the reasons that the council has got a bit more involved in work here in Cornholme and Portsmouth, because of the road safety issues. So we got the school lollipop lady, as she's informally known, to come and help. So she was a bit of a superstar with helping get people into Portsmouth Rec. It's funny.
We had Jolie, bless her, from Lionesses. She was on this bit of the road, because it's a bad bend. So she was on this bit, and she was supervising people across the road. So
you didn't close the roads, right?
Oh no, we wouldn't be able to do that. No.
Being a through road.
Again, it's just people from different organisations, groups, just mucking in.
And the residents at Her Street as well, they kind of did, they did face painting and pebble painting, and they kind of just took that on, and they were really great, and they did that as volunteers, and it worked really well. Even some of the adults got the faces painted.
Yes, we did.
Can I ask about the Lionesses? You've mentioned them a couple of times, but what and who are they?
So they're a women's group who Caroline Beardsmore from Calder Community Cares helped set up. It was in response to the men's breakfast, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah. We've been running the men's breakfast for a few years, and I think it was Rebecca. She said something like, not you, Rebecca Kirby. She said something like, why can't we have a women's breakfast? I said, well, you can, but I'm a man, so I can't run it. So then she had a word with Caroline, and they actually came up with an alternative thing, which they meet on a Thursday at the Lake Old Library, and they do, and they also meet at Broomfield Baptist Church as well. They do great stuff.
They can also bring their children along, which was what was needed and what they wanted, rather than it just being mums or just women. They for a lot of them, childcare is a massive issue. So they were like, as long as we can bring our children along, and I've been along to a few of them, and it's a really supportive group of a real mix of women who come and
Very interesting how it's
I
grown.
honestly thought there was something to do with women's
football, yeah.
Because
Oh yeah, I think that's where they got the name.
The Lionesses of the
Yeah.
Valley. They jumped on the back, I think,
Yeah.
of the
Yes.
Lionesses
Fair
winning.
enough,
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's
so
always been a Lions group, anyway, of men, hasn't
Oh,
there?
that's true. British
You know,
Lions. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
so
that.
I thought, I didn't know whether they were connected
don't
with
know.
that or what. But yeah.
So so they meet here once a week at the old library in Cornholme, but they meet in Todmorden. So it's a mixture of women from Cornholme and Portsmouth and Todd, but quite possibly Hebden as well. I'm not sure, but a bit further afield.
Yeah.
Just a support group, and they have brews and cake and chat, and
Yeah, and from that group there's Cornholme Running Wild.
Yeah.
So that's been set up.
And they're definitely running wild.
So they're
I
a
think
forest
that's what
school
it's
group.
about, a forest school group getting out in nature. And so they were also part of the great get together. They did a little activity last year, and they'll be here again this year.
Yeah, Rebecca and Maxine, they're two of them, and it's amazing really. Sometimes you'd be going along the road on a miserable day, yet they're still out with the kids, taking them up on the hills and everything. They're just incredible, really.
Yeah.
So that was something that the Active Calderdale investment helped with getting the forest school group going. It was sort of identified that would be a good thing for the area, and the couple of the Lionesses and Caroline came up with this sort of project to train up 2 or 3 of them, I think, Bex and Maxine, and I think Jolie as well, to sort of be forest school leaders. So investing in them as individuals, which was brilliant. They'd had this idea and they just needed some training and first aid and a bit of kit. And that's been going for quite a while now, a good 18 months, and is, I think, fortnightly and going strong, and it's for children and adults. And as it sounds like, they go stomping up hills and go exploring and have fires and teach the kids about nature and
So if people want to come along or be involved in the day, what do they do?
They raise their hand and say, yes, please, we would love to help. We have a couple of Facebook groups. There's an active Cornholme and Portsmouth Facebook group and Cornholme and Portsmouth Facebook group as well. So one active, one just standard. And that's where we're advertising for volunteers, and we've got a little link to sign up to an app to be able to bring your name. But if anybody does want to get in touch, they can contact any of us. Jim Haughey, Emma Carter, Rebecca Slaven, we're all on Facebook. Our information is around. So please, we definitely need a lot more volunteers this year. Not only to make it easier for us on the planning team, but because we want to bring more people from the community in to have their ideas. We started this with a little foundation. Now we want people to say, this would be really awesome to have this kind of activity. Generating more interest and ideas from the community, and also, as we found, being part of a community, it's a really wonderful feeling to be part of something and to feel like you belong. So come along and volunteer for one thing, 2 things, the whole planning, whatever you want. We're really open.
And if people just want to come along and join in on the day, when is it? What's the...
Saturday 6th of September,
right?
From 11 o'clock till 4. There'll be we've got some save the dates out on social media. They're going to be dotted around the local area in Todmorden, and then we'll produce a booklet with everything that's going to be happening.
We've got some community notice boards for those people who don't use social media or Facebook. We've got community notice boards at Portsmouth Rec, and then one in the middle of the village at sort of Palmer Street, where there's always been a board, and then there's a board here at Todmorden Town Council's board. So we'll be sharing that way, and people can bob along and have a chat with you, can't they, Jim, in person?
The other good thing about it is how it's developed, because it's not just one day now. Because we're starting, for example, on the 31st of May. We're having our... Because obviously we need to raise funds for the big day. So one of the ideas is that we have a car boot. Well, it started off as a tabletop sale here. But then because of the response, we thought, let's expand it. So it could be a tabletop sale and a car boot sale. There's all sorts of things to be on sale. There could be cake and things to eat and to pay for, to raise funds. But what else is lovely about it is Becca Coop, who works for the council, has also got involved, and they've been doing a community garden thing in land adjacent to the church, and there's been a couple of events, and they're actually going to combine. So on the same day as the 31st of May, they're going to be doing their bits. So it's just lovely. It's just spreading. It's just such a wonderful thing, really.
So Todd Town Council own the land next to Vale, the green space there, which has always been lovely and well used. But another thing that came back to me that I kept on hearing was people wanted a space there that they could kind of sit together and do stuff together. And then Becca Toop from Todd Town Council came along, which is fabulous. So we've got a new person here who's working in Cornholme 1 day a week, although I think she probably does a bit more. She's a community support officer, and she's been a godsend.
Definitely.
And so I've been working quite closely with her to get the green space next to here, to get the path sorted out and to get some lovely raised beds put in and a picnic bench, an accessible picnic bench. And it's got a lovely little park feel now, hasn't it? And then a community gardening group is developed, yeah. So they've been having sessions there every couple of weeks, and it's lovely. So it's grown veg for the community to use. So she'd organised a community event a couple of weekends ago at the end of April, which was kind of similar to what the Great Get Together is. So we're sort of having these build-up events as well, whereas last year we just kind of did it on the day, didn't we? But this year we've got lots of build-up things happening, and it's great. We've got new people coming out and getting.
We actually had one last Saturday, and it wasn't really well attended, which is why it's good to publicise it, really. People need to know exactly what it is that we're doing, because I'm sure if they knew about it, they'd get involved. It's exciting.
It sometimes takes a while for things to build up. Definitely. You'll know that from various things you've done. With
time is key.
Yeah. We did a little initiative last year. We got some funding from Calderdale Council, their Ward Forum grants. And as an active champion, I thought it would be a really nice idea to create a newsletter. So it started off as just really more focusing on, because it was working with Active Calderdale, it was about getting people active, so sharing the physical activity sessions that we have, regular sessions. And we got funding to do 3, and we created the newsletter, we printed it and hand delivered to all of the residents in Cornholme and Portsmouth. We had a small group of volunteers that helped us do that, but that was one of the ways that we wanted to try and get the community to know about all the wonderful things that are happening. So the last one was just in spring, so that was able to advertise things like the Community Day. And the funding now is finished, but we're still going to continue with the newsletter. But now we've got our wonderful notice boards, we can put it on the notice boards. So the hope is, although we can't afford to get it out to every single resident, there'll actually be copies in the local venues such as the church and the old library, and it'll be on the notice board, so people can still keep informed. And again, that's kind of a way to address the fact that not everybody is using all these digital platforms, that sometimes, good old paper is still really relevant. So that's been really important to us, hasn't it?
Yes, they've been lovely. They've been great. So we've had various new things set up, like a yoga class at the old library, and there's Tai Chi happening here at Vale. Rebecca does a Keep Fit class on a Monday afternoon at 4:00, which is great. We've got Vale Walkers group who are getting some sort of lead walk sorted out. There's been local history walk. What else? There's lots going on. There's the forest school sessions. So we wanted to share all of that and let people know it's all going on. And things are constantly evolving as well. There's more and more.
I'm certainly, in the next few weeks, I definitely want to push more the men's, because at the moment the men's breakfast, I just like to come along, chat and eat bacon butties. But Jake and I...
Sounds like a very valid breakfast.
but Jake Warmack is a teacher at the high school, but he's also involved with the Walkers group. We're really going to push, for the men to actually have a walk after breakfast so they can burn off some of the calories. So... it's all
about balance.
And it's something to consider what they might bring to the Great Get Together.
Yeah.
I mean, after the bacon butties, we need the muscle to build the gazebos, really. That's what we do need.
Well, that's your Keep Fit group, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
So how does it work then, the men's breakfast? Do they come here and you cook them something?
Yeah. They come here. It's not a massive breakfast, by the way. It's just it's either a bacon butty or a vegetarian alternative, and it's just a group of guys sat around a table talking about anything that they want to talk about, really.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what guys do.
Yeah.
They need a prod sometimes, don't
Yes,
they, to open up and talk.
Yeah.
The backbone of any community, I've found, tends to be female.
Yeah.
And men will do things, specific things.
Yeah.
So, Rebecca, you're a resident,
Yes.
Cornholme. A lot of people at the other end of the valley, they don't even know whether Cornholme's in Calderdale or in Burnley. Yeah, there's somewhere they to drive or get a bus through occasionally.
Yeah.
Tell us about the village. What's it like living here?
Well, I moved here in February 2021, so it was kind of in that strange lockdown period. I moved because I wanted community, creativity and countryside. I used to live in the city centre. So I found all of that here, but maybe not all specifically in Cornholme and Portsmouth. I changed my job whilst kind of through COVID, and I wanted to be part of the community. I run an organisation called Inspire, Motivate, Transform, and we currently provide a regular timetable of physical activity sessions, so about keeping fit and active. So I knew that was a great way. You know, one of the things I needed to do was bring something to Cornholme. I hadn't got the chance to meet many people. I'd met Jim from the church and I'd met Emma, and that was kind of a really good way to already get into a community that was being built or was already established. I think for me, it feels like a lot of people are still indoors, and that could be because of COVID, you know, that people have adopted these different lifestyles. So for me, I was like, well, where is everybody? I want them to come out and I want to see them and I want to see things happening here. I chatted to a few people, and what you said, Dave, is true, that people, you know, in Cornholme think that they're kind of invisible or they don't belong, you know, as part of Calderdale. It's that funny area, isn't it? But for me, I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter if we feel like we're involved. Let's just be involved, you know, let's just be together. So that was a bit of a driving force for me. Started with the organisation doing the Keep Fit. I welcomed being a volunteer to bring things to the community. And me as an individual now, I know lots more people. It's a really wonderful feeling, isn't it, when you walk down the street and you're saying hiya to people. Like, it feels like I belong, and sometimes that's like it's a really nice sense of purpose. And I guess I have the drive. I am one of those people who likes to do things, so I don't mind getting involved. But I really hope that with my, you know, kind of good energy and spirit, that will also drive other people to want to come out and be part of the community as well. So it's really exciting for me. I think great things are happening, and I've loved seeing this investment from the councils, both Calderdale and Todmorden Town Council, because again, sometimes we do need those people to start to build something, and then other people can come in and grow it.
So, I mean, it is the people who are sort of active, and the councils have recognised that. Now, Emma, I mean, I was interested because it strikes me that, you know, people in Cornholme have been here forever and felt a bit ignored. But I get the impression that the Calderdale Council has realised that it's perhaps ignored Cornholme a bit and is trying to change that. Is that?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like you said, I only really knew this area because I used to work in Burnley and I live in Todd, so I'd drive through, and like so many people, I was like, Cornholme was somewhere that I passed through, and then I started working here, and you get to know somewhere, and it's quite different. It's incredibly beautiful, like the landscape is stunning, but I also realised just how vertical it is can be a massive barrier to people actually going and walking things. So that was a key thing for me. So as I sort of said at the beginning, Active Calderdale are part of public health at the council, but we're externally funded from Sport England, and it's all around trying to get people moving more in whatever way works for them. And Todmorden's had a fair amount of investment through the town deal. Cornholme wasn't part of that, and I think that was recognised. And from our programmes kind of evolved over the last 7-8 years, from it being across all of Calderdale to really pinpointing and going really hyper-local and working in smaller places that are in need of some support and some investment and just a bit of kind of mobilisation, really. So I'm working specifically in Cornholme and Portsmouth. And yeah, like I said, it's been a lot of community engagement, trying to get to know people, find out what the barriers are, and then working with people to to improve things, to improve opportunities, to create new ones. It's all about working together. It's not sort of me coming in and going, let's do this, let's do that at all. It's working with people, which can take time. So we still have investment for the area, which I think is a good thing. We haven't spent it all quickly. We've got a few things going. A key one is we've been doing quite a lot of investment with Crows, the Community Rights Away service, who are superstars, all volunteers. They do loads of work around here, so I sort of realised that. So just to improve some stretches of public rights away that are quite easy access from the village, to try and help change that perception that the hillsides are just inaccessible. So there's a little footpath just a little bit up Pudsey Road which has been defined as a public right of way now, and they've transformed it. Crows have. They've done a great piece of work on there. So we're doing lots of work with them to just try and make these gorgeous hillsides and this landscape a bit more accessible to people in the village who maybe think that they're not walkers and it's not for them. So that's been a big thing. The other big thing that I was sort of shouting about along with the neighbourhood coordinator for the area at the council was about the road safety. So West Yorkshire Combined Authority are now have put Cornholme as one of their priority areas for the whole so they've got 4 across the whole of West Yorkshire. Somewhere in Wakefield, I can't honestly remember the others. Cornholme's there. Little old Corn, it's there at the top of the list. Yeah. So we've been doing a lot of consultation with people locally about what's needed, what they want, what they don't want. And Wicker are going to be funding some road improvements. It'll take time, but we've come a long way in the last year on that. So that's exciting. It's kind of being a bit of an advocate and shouting a bit and sort of going, it's not okay that this beautiful corner of Calderdale has been a bit forgotten, a bit left behind.
Right, that's fantastic. So before we finish, just remind us about getting in touch. There's the notice boards that you've talked about at each end and in the middle of the village. And there's the newsletter, which... Is that going to be a regular thing or is that a one-off?
The newsletter will stay, just won't be hand-delivered, so it'll be displayed in the notice boards and in our community venues.
And remind us what the Facebook pages are that you mentioned earlier.
Active Cornholme and Portsmouth and the Cornholme and Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Also, Vale Baptist Facebook page is also on there as well.
Yes, and people can just bob in here.
There's the old library as well, which we do tend to advertise things there, and that's becoming more and more open to the community as well. More things are happening there. There's a couple of regular things that happen. There's a food share on a Monday morning there, and the Lionesses group meet on a Thursday, but there's more things happening there as well. Trying to create a bit more of a community hub there.
That's great. And the great get-together is the 6th of September.
Yes.
It is, yeah.
But you don't have to wait for that.
No, you can come and join us in the planning, absolutely.
Okay, well, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank
You're doing
you.
a fantastic
Have we convinced
job.
you to move?
As we said earlier, we're taking a break now for a month or two. You can keep in touch with us via the Facebook page, Real Voices of Happy Valley, if you want to suggest anyone that we should be talking to in future. And you can spend the next month or so catching up on some of the older ones. 75 episodes. Must be somebody that you're interested in there somewhere. Trap.